Hi, you guys. Ooh, I'm getting in that holiday spirit. By the time you see this video, I'll be on my way to the United Kingdom to take my son to Oxford. So exciting. I'll be doing the Harry Potter walking tour. You might see me around if you're in that side of the woods. Anyway, I just am so excited. I will be doing my Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recaps and dropping videos from time to time. Again, probably at odd hours, so please hit the notification button so you don't miss any because I won't be on my usual schedule, except for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills gossip and recap dumps I'm doing every week. I like to make sure we stay at least touching base on that, right? What else was I going to tell you? Oh, I know. I wanted you guys to know that if last week you said, like me, Kathy Hilton was hurt about the baby, you were right. Let me play you something.
Are you my secret guy?
We were just trying to keep you private for as long as possible.
You think you would change when it's time for London? Would you tell people?
I don't know. I'm always just worried about what people say, and I don't like that energy. Life felt complete having Phoenix, but I feel like it'll feel more complete when I have a daughter, London. I want them to be like one grade apart in school. The time is coming soon. I want to tell my mom because I feel like it's really going to hurt her feelings if I don't tell her.
Nikki was saying that you were upset about not being involved in the pregnancy.
When the next one comes, I definitely want to be part of it. And I would feel hurt.
The pro is that she'll be happy and she'll help me plan the nursery and baby clothes. But it was just so nice just having no one bothering us or, like, I don't know, it was just like our world.
We just got to have the journey all ourselves, Phoenix.
I'm like torn between both.
Should we flip a coin?
Yes.
You are just tricky, Tay. All right.
I'm gonna think about it some more. I know I can trust her. It's a hard decision.
Well, there you have it. Gosh, bothered. That's not very nice. The truth is they want to keep it a secret. I don't think because they're worried about Kathy spilling the tea. I think they want to keep it secret so we'll watch their show. Did you notice Bravo's airing it now, not just Peacock? Yep. Did you guys see that PK, Paul, Dorito's husband, was dragging Sutton Stracke on his social media? He must be drunk in the UK again. He does this every time. He did like 2 slides. So he said, at Sutton Stracke, I have never ever said one bad word about you, so why you would make up a blatant lies to boost your career. Notice how he spells blatant, like wrong, but all in caps. Anyway, blatant lies to boost your career and then double down is why you're single. You ain't no Dorit love. And don't be so picky. Ooh, them are fighting words. I'm going to drag him in a minute, but hold on. Let's look at his next slide. Then he posts his police report. Now, the first time he posted it, it actually had his address on it. So why he would give his address to everyone again after his wife has been robbed how many times now? 3 or 4 times? I have no idea. But this man doxes himself all the time. I swear. So anyway, but then he reposted it, I guess, without the address, this time with it cut off. And he wrote this. At Sutton Stracke lying about me when I've done 0 against you and then doubling down isn't going to help your career, nor are your Twitter squad. You are no Dorit, nor would you get a first date with me, let alone a second. Then we look closely at his DUI police report, which he's posted, and he highlights this section. Basically says that PK was alone in the car because this is referring to Sutton saying, I heard that he wasn't alone in the car. She didn't say she knew for sure. She said she heard or something to that effect. And this is PK's very dramatic response. You know, which is funny because his marriage is on the rocks, but they're still allegedly together, although I'm not buying what they're selling. But whatever, he seems to really care still enough to go through all this effort. Now, PK has a go-to move, which is to call a woman a see you next Tuesday or make an ageism comment or a comment about a woman's looks, and that's his attack mode. And although PK was attacked a little bit in the same way by Sutton, I mean, she's not wrong. And I just think for a man to take the high road is appropriate, right? Like, why would you hit back in the same way that someone hit you? Why wouldn't you say something like, obviously Sutton doesn't think I'm attractive, but thank gosh, my gorgeous wife Dorit does. Something classy. Like, what is this nonsense? So then PK says, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. Now, he always does these kind of threats towards women. He threatened to drown me in a lake. He called me a see you next Tuesday a few times publicly. This is like his thing. This doesn't say a lot about this guy. Just saying, right? Yeah. Filthy mouth, PK. So I noticed this, and I just want to call it out since he was so good to post his police report for his DUI. PK was going up Laurel Canyon, which is an incredibly windy, narrow road, right? So this is really dangerous what PK did. When he pulled over, he actually hit the curb with the front of his tire per the police report, and then kind of angled his car up on the sidewalk because, again, Laurel is very narrow. So I just want to say, I don't know why he's so worried about his looks and not worried about the fact that he could have killed somebody. And then there's this. I approached the vehicle along the driver's side door. I observed a white male adult who was the sole occupant of the SV seated in driver's seat of the SV. I contacted the driver, later identified as Paul Kemsley by his name and date of birth. I informed Kemsley the reason for the stop and requested his driver's license. Kemsley related he did not have his California driver's license and provided me with the name and date of birth. A DMV inquiry showed a valid California driver's license with number, and there's his number. Kemsley's identity was later confirmed by Cal Photo. In talking with Kemsley, I immediately observed he had red eyes and I could smell a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from inside the vehicle. That's a pretty strong statement. A strong odor in the car, like an open beverage and red eyes. I mean, that's really unsafe. And Laurel Canyon, as I said, is a dangerous road. So I think what we should really be focusing on, PK, is not using your DUI police report to say you weren't cheating on your wife. Do some introspection about not drinking and driving and acting the fool and possibly killing yourself and other people. I think that's more important to contemplate at this point. Just saying. And why didn't you tell your wife? Thought she was your best friend. I guess you choose the times to stick up for your wife. So tonight you're going to see that the women are afraid to piss off Kathy Hilton. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. And that's because they'll lose social status. So I thought this would be a good time to show you some video clips from Kathy Hilton's direct-to-TV Christmas party. Make no mistake, this was not Kathy Hilton's Christmas party. This was DirecTV paying Kathy Hilton to host a Christmas party at her house. But let me play you the footage, and then you'll see why people don't want to piss Kathy Hilton off.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. Come on in. I want you to see my DirecTV Winter Wonderland.
My house is very over the top for most people, and I start very early with my decorations, but I mean, no one can hold a candle to what Kathy does.
Hi, DirecTV. Happy holidays.
Oh, one more thing. I'm going to play you a quick clip of Lisa Rinna with her daughters doing the Balenciaga fashion show in Los Angeles. Yeah, I know. God, she's really trying to be the villain, isn't she? Well, anyway, she sent an apology bouquet, huge, to Kathy Hilton with a note. I would say that the note said that she probably took things too far, but also reminded Kathy as to why she got carried away, just to check Kathy. Kathy did accept her apology.
Hi. Great. Let me get a little more. What's happening? Oh yeah, okay. Oh, good news.
Okay, so season 13, episode 7 recap. Let's go. We start the episode and Kyle Richards' CBD pot party is still happening, her dinner party. Everyone's sitting down and Denise is yelling at Erica Jane Girardi. She's clearly not operating on all cylinders. She's just either very drunk or she's taken something like a pill or something before dinner or whatever, or she's just not right. And she doesn't look right when she actually enters the dinner. She looks sloppy. She just does. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm a Denise fan, but I mean, it was noticeable. And you know, when the weed chef says you're fucked up, you're really fucked up. Now, something to take a note is Denise Richards is friends with Garcelle Bouvet, Sutton Strack, and Crystal Minkoff off the show. That's really important to know. Now, the whole time I'm listening to Denise Richards say, you know what you did, and Erica going, no, I don't know what I did. What did I do? And she was like, that thing, and Erica's like, what thing? Like, do you mean the whole thing or a specific thing? And she's like, no, the thing. And then what happens is, you start as the viewer racking your brain as to what it is. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, it's when Erica attacked Aaron Vipers, her man, and that upset her. Or when people were starting rumors that Aaron Vipers might be a little physical with Denise. Remember, he squeezes her hand when they're leaving the party. He's like pissed. And then, people are kind of making fun of his job and his weird spa in Malibu and all that. So I was like, maybe that's what she's talking about. Or I was thinking maybe because Denise knew that Erica and Lisa Rinna were in cahoots and helped really push the cheating storyline that Brandi Glanville came up with, that Denise and Brandi had a secret affair and she basically cheated on Aaron Vipers, which would have been really bad for her relationship if that was true. She was pissed that Lisa and Erica kept wanting to say it on camera and use it, right? So I thought maybe that's what she's talking about from that time. But no, we find out later, very disappointingly, that it has to do with way, way, way back when Denise Richards has Erica Jane Girardi over for like a party and she's talking about sex and threesomes near her children. And the kids are like, oh my gosh, why are they talking about that? And are like embarrassed and like at another table. So now let me give you some behind the scenes. I don't believe Denise Richards at the time was thinking about that moment when she was acting that way. I think she was thinking more along the lines of what I just said. However, later in the episode tonight, she goes to lunch with Garcelle Bouvet, Sutton Strack, and Crystal Minkoff. And she says what it was she was talking about the whole time of Erica talking about a threesome around her kids. I think actually this was so that Garcelle Bouvet could say Erica attacks kids. She attacked my kids. She talked inappropriate around your kids. Like, it's a thing with Erica and the kids to try to villainize Erica. Now, I think the producers cut it out because they're trying to make Erica great in this season and loved because they're about to do this spinoff show. So I think Garcelle and Denise tried to angle that. And the producers cut it because they don't want Erica to be a villain at the end of the season because they're doing this show about her residency in Vegas. And they've done this before. Remember Lucy, the dog, and Lisa Vanderpump's spinoff show about her animal shelter? They did a whole thing that they built into the storyline of that season to try to give it a platform to launch that show, and it didn't work, right? There's a lot of theories about why it was destroyed, right? They kept trying to make it work and they couldn't make it work. Well, this is a similar situation. They're building in the storyline Erica's residency in Vegas so they can promote this spinoff show. So Denise Richards does her best with this fight. She then, so messed up, she tries to explain herself to Kyle Richards in the other room as to what she's talking about, and she tries to continue the drama. And Kyle's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Denise. And everybody's trying to sort of throw Denise a bone, but Denise is not taking it. Everybody just sort of shuts down to Denise, and Kyle realizes she needs to get her out of there because she's just not making sense. And Dorit notices that Denise Richards put on her jacket upside down, and she tries to tell her, like, honestly, as a good person, like, you know, your jacket's upside down, especially on camera, you want to do that for someone. And Denise thinks she's trying to call it out or embarrass her or make her look more drunk than she is or on something. And she imagines this whole scenario where Dorit is on purpose trying to make Denise Richards look bad. And you realize at this point that Denise's paranoia from all the mind fucking these producers do on this show has really gotten to her. And you know who else they did that to? Camille Grammer, when she was Camille Grammer. And Camille was the same. She was like ultra paranoid because they just played around a little too much with the lab rat. Now, Denise Richards does another fourth wall break tonight, like she did that one time where she was like, F you, F you, F you, bravo, right? And like trying to get them to cut it out or whatever, and then they included it and it became like a big iconic scene. Well, Denise tonight says, you know what you did to Erica. She says, you watched it on the show. You know exactly what you did. So this, you know, saying watch the show is not something that the producers generally like you to do. They left it in, I guess, to try to put what Denise Richards was saying in context so she didn't sound like a total lunatic. But often that happens to people when they want to call someone out on something they did on the show. And they're trying not to break that fourth wall, but it's like impossible because you're pissed about something that is in the fourth wall. So now that Denise is gone, let's go back to the dinner table again. Sutton and Kyle are fighting. Sutton wants Kyle to admit what the problem is in the relationship. Is it cheating? Is it that he's not around? What is the problem that's causing the issue in your marriage? Kyle keeps saying, I've told you I have an issue in my marriage, and I'm not prepared to go further than what I've said. And Sutton keeps trying to push it. Now, meanwhile, when they get up in that moment where we see Denise in this jacket and all this other stuff happening with Dorit tells Kyle that while she was out of the room, Sutton said, Kyle's in denial somewhere. And so this really pisses Kyle off, and she wants to call her out on it right then and there. So she goes, Sutton, you said that I was in denial. What do you want to say? Like, what is it that you think I'm in denial about? And Sutton won't articulate it, but essentially this gets them talking about Kyle's marriage not being as great as she presented, although this season she hasn't presented that. So I don't know. It gets really confusing. Here's when I sensed they had shot a bunch of stuff, then didn't use it, and we're lost a little, right? There's stuff we're missing here that they've cut out because they're trying to tell a different story and give us a different impression. Kyle, as you guys know, has already said this publicly, that she had shot a lot of footage about her being upset that her best friend killed herself. And as a result of that, she's been, you know, making some big life changes, i.e. not drinking and all this stuff. And there was a lot of that shot. And so I think what's going on here is that Sutton is trying to get Kyle Richards to admit that all of the changes are not just to do with her friends passing, but also to do with her marital problems, and maybe even go deeper into what those are and what isn't happening, or what is causing the rift. And so we're not really getting a sense of that because they've edited all this stuff out, or they've rearranged it, so we can't follow it. This is like a bad edit, in my opinion, this one thing. So Sutton's track really has the Southern soap opera character down at this point, and she's gotten more and more theatrical, and she really did nail quite a performance at this dinner party. She acts like a prude at the beginning of the dinner party. She says, oh, I don't want the pot in my food or anything like that. You know, you get the sense like she's Southern and she won't do pot in her food. And then she whips out a joint at the table and starts smoking it. And I think it was her joint. And then she's like, you don't know me. You just think you know me. And that's where we go with it. That was a little surprising. So the fight builds and builds and builds. And then the big bomb drops, which is Kyle says, you know, I think you have a drinking problem, basically, and you don't eat, which is an indicator of your drinking problem. And Sutton says, no, I've told you that I choke. I can't always eat food. I have this problem where my esophagus feels like it tightens and I can't actually swallow, and sometimes I feel like I have to throw up. It's like a real problem. And that's why I don't eat. It's not about drinking and all of this stuff. And then Kyle brings up her foot medication that she takes, which I don't know is a pain reliever. And Sutton admits that she sometimes takes a pill before bed. And this is the whole conversation that Kyle and her are having. And it gets Sutton more and more angry. And then finally Sutton says, you don't want to lose me like you've already lost your sisters. So this is a real knife in the heart with Kyle, because obviously we know that Kyle's lost her sisters because of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's be clear. So the connotation here is you sold your soul, bitch, right? For fame. That's the read between the lines. And now you know why Kyle really said fuck off to Sutton. And this is why Kyle then says, you kiss my sister Kathy Hilton's ass, and you're too afraid to say the truth about what she does and how she treats people. So who's the sellout, bitch? And then Sutton's like, oh, I'm not the sellout. I'll show you. I'll tell the story right here and now what Kathy Hilton did to me. I didn't stand up for her in the press to her satisfaction, and she called and yelled at me and showed me a really dark side of herself, and I didn't like it. And as we speak tonight, Kathy Hilton has just nixed Sutton Stracke off every guest list for the next 2 years, just to make a point. By the way, Sutton Stracke was noticeably missing from the DirecTV Christmas party sponsored by Kathy Hilton. And Erica tries to insert herself like she's some sort of a rebel to Kathy Hilton's social events, but she's never been invited. So the CBD party ends with Kyle in tears and her staff telling her how nice she is and how sad they are that she's crying because they don't want her to cry. Don't cry, Kyle. Don't cry. She's always crying these days. So the next morning or a day later, Kyle Richards, in true new form, goes running down the street to Anne Marie's house for a workout. And when she gets there, Anne Marie's like, let's play pickleball. So they play pickleball in her backyard. Anne Marie, by the way, is a stunning house. Absolutely gorgeous. And they have a great time doing pickleball. Then they break off to the side, and Kyle brings up the esophagus issue of Sutton with Anne Marie, and Anne Marie also chimes in, so it's like a mutual conversation. And we find out that Anne Marie is like an anesthesiologist nurse, and so she's quite familiar with putting tubes down people's throats to put them to sleep, etc. And she really wants to understand this esophagus problem that Sutton has, because I guess the angle is that Sutton's lying about it and really covering up something else, which we already know is what Kyle thinks is a drinking problem. So then we jump with the cameras over to a restaurant called Six, I think, on Robertson, I'm guessing. And the girls are all having lunch. Denise Richards, Sutton Stracke, Crystal Minkoff, and Garcelle. And now Denise is shiny and new and all made up beautifully and not drunk and not drinking and really on her game. And she basically says in this scene, the issue with Erica had to do with her talking about threesomes at the party from like years before in front of her kids. And it goes nowhere. And so that's why I know we're missing something huge in the edit here, that they didn't want to go there. But we do get a conversation about another health issue that I think Sutton has that might require an amputation. The women are like, wow, Garcelle, you're kind of over the top on that one, because it's Garcelle who brings up that that's a possible outcome. But what's the real reason for the lunch? Two things. One, Sutton wants to say, how dare Kyle Richards say I have a drinking problem. She probably has a drinking problem, which is why she had to quit alcohol, whereas I didn't. So she spins it around. She also has an opportunity to say to Crystal, so the fans can hear it, that she's sorry that she said that Kyle was going to lose her like her two sisters, that was a really low blow, and she admits that. So we get that moment. And then we're back at the pickleball court again, and Kyle tells Anne-Marie, for no reason whatsoever, that she really wants to make things right with Sutton, that she loves Sutton and likes Sutton, and she's got to figure out a way to fix things between them, but it was a real low blow, and that she felt that this whole bringing up of her marriage and stuff was not meant to be helpful like a friend, but more meant to be like a dirty dig. Then we're back with Erica. Just kidding, I'll change the filter. A little shade there. Erica is in a bar. The name of the bar is Rocco's and WeHo, and she orders some martinis, and her and Mikey start talking. And the purpose of this conversation is to talk about her dream to have a residency in Las Vegas and how excited she is because she got a meeting with Live Nation and now it may happen. And Mikey's ready to go and put the show together. And it's going to be so much fun, but also really stressful. And this is the spinoff, pitch we're getting ahead of time. And that's that scene. Then we jump to a hiking trail, and Dorit and Kyle are walking together, and Dorit's trying to be a good friend to Kyle and show her that she has her back about the marriage and things haven't been handled right with the friendship groups. And boom, in comes Kim Richards. And Kim Richards is, as she always is, totally kinetic. She explains that she's been painting on her walls and she's doing murals now, and we get to see a glimpse of these pieces of art Kim Richards is making, and Kyle's happy for her. Here's some of Kim's murals and some more of Kim's murals. I would commission a squirrel one. The people who know. She says that Kim wasn't doing great during COVID, but now she seems to be doing better and going out and stuff like that, but it's kind of cryptic. We don't really know what she means beyond that. And Kim starts crying, and we get a sense that Kyle has to make up with Kathy Hilton because there's so many family events happening. Kim Richards spills that she's met Paris Hilton's baby, and Kyle hasn't. Kyle only found out about Paris's baby when it broke on the internet. So there's a big breakdown in the family, and we start to understand that what Kyle Richards really misses isn't necessarily her sisters, but it's all of her family that she's denied when she has a fight with one of them because they're such a big crew. So this is at the basis of everything, and the episode ends with that cliffhanger. Will they make up on our season? I hope so. All right, you guys, we know they do end up making up. Obviously, Kathy just got a tattoo with Morgan and Kyle. And I mean, Kathy is already trying to set Kyle Richards up with guys that she knows. So we'll see. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go to the airport and fly out of here and be a jet setter for a second. I'll pretend. Bye, you guys. Talk next week.